What's going on, people? Welcome back to another video here on my channel. Today we are doing how to charge clients for videos. This is totally a relatable place to be at, and at the end of the day, you know, this is a process. This is still a process for me. So shout out to AfroChick. They're the person who kind of asked for this video, right? They actually say that they'd like me to basically break down how to charge a client. They got their first client that they're supposed to negotiate tomorrow. So we got to get this video up. Got to make sure you have at least a couple ideas on what to do. And without further ado, we're gonna do it. So my name's Jack. I produce daily content based around video editing, videography, and how to make money making videos. Subscribe if that sounds interesting to you. Today we're gonna show you how to figure out the amount that you actually want to charge. And there's a very simple strategy here, right? You have to figure out two amounts first. So the amounts that I would suggest you to figure out is how much you would not work for. What's the price that you wouldn't work for? You say, that's too low. There's no chance I'm going to do it. That doesn't sound like I'm getting ripped off, right? So first off, figure out the price that you 100% wouldn't work for, the lowest possible price, right? Now figure out a price that you don't even feel comfortable asking for. I'm going to use two random amounts, right, as just total example amounts. By all means, don't take this as what I'm telling you to charge. Just saying that these are just examples, right? So let's say, you've got a project in front of you that you potentially want to do. Let's say, I'm thinking about this project. I'm thinking, all right, I wouldn't do it for $100. There's no way. $100 is far too low for the amount of work. I can't do it for $100. $1,000. That seems a bit too much. I don't think the client could afford it. I don't necessarily even feel comfortable asking for that amount of money. I don't think I've got a good enough track record that shows that I'm worth getting paid that amount for a project, right? So you figured out two different numbers. You figured out the amount you wouldn't work for and the amount that it seems too high. You don't even feel comfortable, charging that amount yet, right? And again, those are two totally random numbers. Those might be great numbers or terrible numbers for you. Just examples. Don't even worry, right? Once you got those two numbers figured out, it's safe to assume that your price that you're going to charge these people is in the middle of those two numbers. So it's somewhere in between the 100 and the 1,000, right? Again, total example numbers. For you, you could be a big baller. Could be between 100,000 and a million. I don't know what you're charging out here. Or it could be between 1,000 and 10,000, right? I got no clue. Or it could be between 1 and 10. I got no clue what your personal prices are, right? But that is a good strategy, in my opinion, is figure out a price you definitely wouldn't work for, figure out a price you don't even necessarily feel comfortable working for, and then figure out something in between that's the number that you'd be happy to to work for. Pick a number in between those two numbers. Now, there's a couple other things to keep in mind, right? The main thing I think to keep in mind, right, which could enable you to charge more, and there's I might do the same video for two different clients and they're two different prices because of this one factor. Is it a person or is it a brand? Is it a person or is it a company? Companies deal with budgets. It's not their money, right? It's their money, obviously, but it doesn't feel as that big of a hit because there's a definite ROI, return on investment on that money. It's more marketing money, right? Opposed to, and I'm gonna break down a great example in a second that proves this, okay? But it's not their personal money. It's not coming out of they're not reaching in their pocket. They're not getting their wallet and opening it up and being like, there you go, right? That's just conveniently a $5 in my wallet at the moment. I never carry cash, but that made my point. Phenomenal, great. They're not actually giving you money out of their own pocket, right? They're giving you money out of an allocated marketing budget for the company or the brand that they're working on. You can easily charge more money for that situation because of the fact that a company, it doesn't feel that big of a hit because they're putting that money into the business, ideally to receive money back, right? So it's usually a promo video or something marketing related, right? So 100% you could charge more for brands and companies, but if this is a person, you might want to consider, maybe a little bit less. Or if it's a younger person, whatever the case may be, you want to give them a price that's worthwhile, right? So your prices can change a fair bit. And here's an example, right? I'm moving to London. I just got myself a brand new flat, nice 1-bedroom flat. I'm moving out of my mom's house. I've been living at my mom's house for 21 years. Not the same house, moved around a bunch, but I've been living with my parents for 21 years. I'm 21, right? And I'm getting a new flat. Now, I'm arranging a removals company or a moving company, right? To move my stuff up to London because I live in the countryside. It's a good fair bit of time. They came to my office and they assessed the amount of stuff that needs to be brought. And I made sure to break down to them that, I'm 21, I'm a young person, I'm moving up to London, this is my first time getting a new apartment, I'm not rolling in fucking money, basically. And I was trying to allude to the fact that I was potentially trying to get some sort of deal. And sure enough, 80 pounds to move my stuff from the countryside and drive it for 5 hours up to London. And 80 pounds, that's nothing. That's literally them giving me the moving, right? That's absolutely nothing. Now, imagine if they came to like a big company. It's just me by myself down here in my office. I know they came to my office, but imagine they'd come to a big company. They'd be 100% charging that big company much more than 80 pounds to move all their stuff. Say it's a company that's relocating offices. They're moving from the countryside to London, and they've bought a big ass office, and they got, a 20-person company or whatever. That removals company, that moving company, they're charging that company far more money than they're charging me as a solo person who's like a younger guy, right, at the end of the day, right, and who potentially isn't dealing with a big budget, right? A company, you could charge them a significant amount of money because it's coming out of their budget. It's an expense. It's write-offable, right? On their taxes, they write that off. They you know what I mean? They're not having to pay tax on that money, etc., right? And that's just a random little insight into the situation that could be a factor. But basically, is this a person or a brand? That's something to consider as well. Now, another thing to keep in mind is, do you need this work, right? I charge people significantly more money these days because I don't need the work. So if a client turns around and says, you know what, we can't afford you, thank you, but we can't afford you, bless up, and they go somewhere else, that's actually not a hit to me. It's actually kind of a relief. Now, if I really love a project, if I think about the project, I'm like, oh, this is amazing, I really want to get involved in this, I'll make a price that's just totally acceptable. Because at the end of the day, once you've stated your prices to people enough, you sort of understand what's going to play and what might not play for certain clients, right? What they can afford, what they can't. But these days, I more or less kind of pass on work these days by just stating a bigger price than I might have if I needed that work, and I'm happy to be passed on. So that's something I couldn't do when I was a younger freelancer, and a project would present itself to me, and I would need the work. Like I'd be working project to project. I would literally need the work. So I'd be like, I need to come up with a price that they can 100% guaranteed hire me for, and I would end up, losing out on a significant amount of money that I could potentially be getting if I was sticking by and kind of, stating my prices a little bit more consistently, right? Where if you need the work, you sort of have to just come up with a price that's definitely acceptable to them. Like if you need the money, I'm talking about, right? Like if you have bills to pay this Friday and you've got a job, and if you don't get this job, the bills aren't getting paid, you got to come up with a price that's definitely going to get you the job, right? But at the end of the day, at the same time, if you do not need the work, you set yourself up in a position where you have more leverage, right? You don't need the work, therefore you can state your price, whether it be high, low, whatever, and if you don't get it, it doesn't matter. You can keep moving, right? So that's the thing, right? Can the client afford this? That's sort of your main factor, right? If I see a client, that's in front of me, right? Whether it be on the internet, in person, whatever the case may be, a general rule of thumb is I'm usually looking for a price that they can afford. Now, this is another little rule that I kind of intertwine here is if you sense repeat business is an option, right? So if a company comes to you and they're just saying, we just want one video, we just need a video, can you make the video? It's a one-time thing. State whatever price you want, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But a good strategy if you're working on more of a long-term relationship with a client is coming up with a price that sets yourself up for recurring business. So for example, I filmed 4 different videos for a car dealership that's like 30-minute drive for me, something like that. It's a local car dealership, and basically, I went to film this video for them, or I went to have a meeting with them first, right? And I sensed that they had, some money to play with and stuff like that, right? And they were investing it in promotional videos, which is leading to more business for them. And I decided upon the fact that instead of charging them what I was going to charge them, £500 for a video, I decided to only charge them £300 for a video, right? So I knocked off a little bit of money. And the reason for this was I sensed that they could be a target for repeat business, meaning that they didn't just want one video from me, they potentially wanted a fair few. And reducing price to leave money on the table, to set them up to want to book you more is definitely a cool strategy as well, and it's something you can incorporate. But do that if you sense repeat business. So if I sense repeat business, I'll decide upon a price and just knock a little bit off, because I think that sets them up to be willing to spend more money with you going forward. So instead of just booking one video, say I said, all right, boom, one video, that's £500, right? They might have booked the one video, but if they didn't see a definite return on investment, it's hard to justify keep putting large amounts into something when you're not seeing return on investment. Whereas if I only charge 300 pounds, almost half the amount, right? Even if they don't see that instant ROI, and ROI is return on investment, it's not so much crazy money that they're not willing to just keep trying, right? And that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately, the business that we were making videos for was like a giveaway thing, and the business, it went out of business, straight up. You know what I mean? Like their marketing material wasn't as on point. Like the videos I was creating were bangers. Like, you know, I'm a little biased, obviously, but it was so much fun. I had so much fun doing these projects. They were straight bangers, but there was other aspects at play, and the business didn't make it, straight up. But that right there's a factor, right? Is how much you charging, and minimizing that price a little bit, not to screw yourself over. 300 pounds for the project was great. It was only 6 hours shoot and 6 hours edit. So I'm getting paid, you know what I mean, 300 pounds for 12 hours of work. Like that's, you know, you could do 12 hours of work in a day. 300 pounds in a day, it's a pretty good day. You know what I mean? Like that's a good day, to be honest. Even on a hard working day for me, I make 200 pounds or something like that, right? So 300 pounds in a day is a banger. 12 hours, 300 pounds, it's still good money, but I left a little bit on the table to set myself up for them to rehire me for other jobs going forward, not think that they, you know, it was too much to rehire me and risk not getting repeat business. So that's a little bit of a splurge. I don't even know. Is that the right word? Who knows? There's no right word at the end of the day. If you got the meaning, you know, it was the right word. That's just a little bit of thoughts from my mind, basically, on how to charge clients for videos. I really hope, AfroChick, you're still watching to the end. And I hope I helped you out. I hope I provided some value. Just to summarize, figure out the amount you definitely wouldn't work for. Figure out the amount you don't even feel comfortable asking for. Choose a price in between there. Is it a company or is it a person? If it's a person, you got to charge them a little bit less. If it's a company, you can get away with pushing that up a little bit, charging them more because they're not giving you the money out of their own personal wallet. It's out of a budget for the company. That's 100% guaranteed, man. And do you need this work? If you do, you might have to give them a price that they can definitely, or well, all times you're trying to get the job, so you're giving them a price they can afford. But do you need this work? You might have to give a safe price. Do you not need this work? You could state what you'd happily work for and would comfortably like for this project. And if they don't hire you, it's not the biggest deal in the world. That right there is how to charge clients for videos. I've been Jack. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook if you guys want to connect further. I respond to every single person there. If you hit me on Instagram, especially, I'm responding to your DM. We get on a FaceTime. We do whatever. At the end of the day, I'm super interactive on social media, answering any further questions you have after the video. I appreciate you for tuning in. If you did get to the end, comment 5%, gang. 5% is the amount of people that actually make it to the end of my videos. If you made it to the end, you were in the top 5%. You're a legend. I appreciate you, and you're definitely serious about your freelance video production. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next video.